Welcome everyone to this October 27th meeting of the Wissahickon School Board. First, we list out our upcoming meetings. Tomorrow we have our Facilities Committee meeting. November 3rd, we'll have our next regular public board meeting. November 10th will be policy. November 20th, our Board Educational Equity Oversight Committee. That's our community listening session. December 1st will be our annual reorganization meeting, as well as our work session. And December 8th will be both audit and regular public board meeting. Then we list out our prior meetings. We met on September 29th for a work session, October 6th for a regular public board meeting, and October 13th for both health, wellness, and safety, and our Board Educational Equity Oversight Committee meeting. And now we'll move into our presentations. First, we have our Wissahickon High School monthly highlights. Okay, so Minithon is doing a pink out t-shirt sale to support the football team, as well as raise awareness for breast cancer, which is a great initiative on their part. Additionally, this Wednesday, the 29th, we have the Autumn Voice Rehearsal recital in the auditorium, which is where music students will sing solo pieces that they've chosen and prepped for the past month. And it's just going to be a great way to show support for the music department and see the many talented people we have at Wissahickon. And I'm actually going to have a presentation with Ms. Latour about Hispanic Heritage Month we'll be doing in the district as well. So stay tuned to that. We also have a lot of our sports teams have been really doing well recently. 4 players on the golf team have qualified for the District 1 championship, which is really exciting for them. And then for cross country, 5 of the girls have gone to the all times list, and 3 of them actually going to states, which is really exciting. We have a senior, a junior, and a freshman. So we have excellence here. Oh, and then town hall, our next meeting is tomorrow. And we're actually focusing on advocating for school spirit. So we're going to talk about all the clubs that we have. So hopefully more school member or students get more involved, because after freshman year, they might not know so many things about the club. So we're hoping it's all for the best. And we have like a lot of clubs signed up for it. So it's going to be really exciting. Thank you so much for those updates. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Well, thank you.
Thank you. I will turn it over to Ms. Latour, our Director of Equity and Cultural Responsiveness.
To highlight the amazing efforts of our district in recognition of National Hispanic Heritage Month. As Isabel said, she's joining me this evening to help me present. I'm so excited about this. It will be a trend. We're going to ensure that we have students presenting at the Heritage Month presentations going forward, and so I'm looking forward to that. From September 15th to October 15th, and across the district, we had a wonderful opportunity to learn and to celebrate. So at Blue Bell Elementary, we've had an opportunity during morning announcements to have students learn facts about Hispanic Heritage Month. The library also featured books written by and about Hispanic and Latin Americans. Blue Bell also had a bulletin board highlighting famous Hispanic and Latin Americans. In music class, students performed a dance to Los Manchetes, a popular folk dance from Mexico, and we also learned a dance from Bolivia. We have the opportunity for students again to learn about the history. And so they learned specifically about the history of picados, which is cut papers and banners, which are decorations from Mexico. Students also looked at many other cultures around the world and how they made artwork from cut paper, and then they made their own picados. We also had the opportunity to have a collaboration between our ELD teacher, Mrs. Holcher, our social lab student, Marley Cortez, and the librarian, Colleen Musti, wanting to showcase individuals throughout the world who have impacted history and the way of life. So they displayed highlights of Hispanic and Latin American objects, writers, political figures, scientists, activists, athletes, and artists and their home countries. From traditional, contemporary, Hispanic, and Latin music, students have fun learning and performing songs and dances throughout the time that we have from September 15th, to October 15th. We have students in fourth grade who learned about Mexican artists such as Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, and they also created their own self-portraits. So, elementary, down with Hispanic Heritage Month, fourth graders dived into and had the opportunity to continue to dive into some reading. And so researching biographies and reading about inspiring Hispanic leaders, exploring their culture, traditions, and geography of Spanish-speaking countries through an engaging country-study project. They also had the opportunity to learn about different leaders each day. And so they could pick out a leader, learn about that leader, and make connections between their own life and the life of that specific leader. So I'm going to turn now to Isabel for focus on student work. So the kindergartners have recognized Hispanic heritage, who's the next comparison? By symbolic self-portraits, self-portraits. Third, about the influence individuals of Hispanic Heritage Month, and we apply a picture about the various individuals around it. And the picture also explaining the things in the third grade pictures. And then with this, which is fiction books written by Hispanic authors and non-fictional science that feature important figures of the Hispanic history and culture. Most students in Spanish classes are learning about the culture and art across the entire Spanish world. They Hispanic communities and Hispanic or another culture. Students the music across Spanish-speaking which is an explanation. And then we hosted our annual Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, which I'm top left corner there. It's really nice. A lot of candy. Some dollars and it's it was on the 15th actually. Staff students donating us, but our students and community members at the time. It was really fun. We fun. So bracelets that celebrate various countries that spend America, some temporary tattoos and a lot of stickers. This study performed still is how it was an Argentine composer. And that application submitted by different artists about personal finance, including fresh voices and finance about how the Hispanic how they as a personal finance advisor. And then with these studies, they had socializes some things that had two options to perform. So the first one is research country self-review and complete comparative analysis to make this self-review event, or something that was to individual research contributions. Thank you. Are there questions for us?
No question, just a comment that I really do appreciate the additional voices on the presentation. Thank you.
That, and I look forward, sorry, I'm trying to navigate this. I'm looking forward to having more of our students do these presentations. What a great addition. A great idea, Isabel. Good job. Thank you.
That as well, including our students. That's great. And I love these presentations and getting to see what's going on in our schools and how to incorporate activities throughout the month. So wonderful. So thank you so much for sharing everything going on this month. And so thank you so much for participating in the show. And you did it by school. And thank you. Thank you. Right. So then that brings us to our first public comment period. And I don't have anyone in person. Amanda get to her seat. Anyone online? There are no hands raised online.
All right, then we'll move on to the board president report. And this evening, I have no informational or action items. We'll move on to our superintendent report.
Good evening. This evening, I have no informational items or action items. Thank you.
Thank you. Our assistant superintendent report, Dr. Gardner.
Good evening. I have no informational or action items as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Jeff, board solicitor.
I do have two items on the agenda for action next week. And they are both approvals of special education settlement agreements, one for student K-25, one for student L-25, calling for settlements in the amount of $46,292 and $40,650 respectively. These items have been reviewed with the board in executive session. And as a matter of disclosure, we cannot disclose the substance of these agreements publicly, as these agreements are covered by the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and they involve student special education settlement agreements that are duly negotiated between counsel for the family and counsel for the district in the process. The board has been updated by the administration in this process, and the board is aware of the settlement terms and are supporting moving forward, but we cannot have a community and or board public discussion on the subject.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Were there any comments or questions? Okay, thank you, and we'll be voting on those next week. Board secretary report, Tim.
There's four there's 4 minutes. There's December 29th work session minutes, the regular meeting on October 6th, the approval of the October 13th Health and Wellness and Safety Committee meeting, and then the October 13th Educational Equity Oversight Committee meeting.
Great, thank you. Any comments or questions?
Just a question about 11.2, the minutes for the October 6th board meeting. Within the minutes document itself, there are a few spots where there's a notation that says not specified in quotes. And I was just curious as to what that signified. It's more just out of curiosity.
I'm happy to respond to that. We noticed that and we investigated that. It's a feature of board docs. It's not something that is intentionally input into the minutes. It's an automatic default. So we were working with board docs to see how to mitigate that matter moving forward, but it is not, there's not a code, it's not code for anything. It's just a simple sort of default for some of the items there. And we recognize that it's not consistent for all of those notes in the minutes as well. So we're working with the representatives from board docs. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Were there any other questions? All right, thank you. And board treasurer report, Tim.
This month for approval is the September 30th, 2025 Treasurer's Report.
Great, thank you. Were there any questions or comments about that report? Okay, thank you again. HR report, Danielle.
Good evening, everyone. For your review tonight, there are 7 items under section 13 of the Human Resources Report. The first 2 action items include resignations, retirement, appointments, extracurricular changes, and volunteers. Item 13.3 is an inductee mentor list for the school year. 13.4 are winter extracurricular activities assignments. And 13.5 is for the approval of an MOU with the WEA, the Wissahickon Education Alliance. This is to clarify some contract language around the professional 16-step bonus that was bargained in good faith. This was just to clarify that language going forward. It just wasn't quite clear in the contract. 13.6 is for a conference approval. And then finally, 13.7 is for the approval of a hearing. It's the approval of a hearing officer Brooks' recommendation in an employee Wissahickon district case. This was reviewed in executive session this evening. Thank you.
Danielle, comments or questions? Zebby?
I do. And although tonight we will not be voting, I did want to indicate that next week I will like us to separate 13.4 for separate voting, as I will continue to vote no. I understand that we're still in the process of reestablishing how we look at our athletic coaches. And until we're at a spot that feels right, I will continue to vote no. So I do ask that for next week's meeting, we will pull out 13.4 for individual voting.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
I have a question, more out of curiosity regarding 13.3. Danielle, can you tell us how are mentors selected for teachers?
Sure. Our teachers have to be tenured teachers. And then they're selected by the building principal. So they also volunteer. So we find out who in the building wants to be a mentor. And then sometimes we have to tap some shoulders. But again, they're some of our best teachers and people who want to, you know, give back to the profession. And that's all part of being a mentor here in the induction program. So.
Cool. And our mentors, are they in the same building as the inductee or? Are they?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you so much for that report. I will move on now to our communications committee report. Zeppi.
Good evening. Thank you. I now have two informational items. My first informational item is about our yearly newsletter, which went out to everyone who lives in the district, regardless or not if they have students in our schools. It went out last week. I received mine, the mail as well. This is mine from the mail. It's done a little differently this year. The communications team has worked really hard to also make some really nice videos and audio clips that go with this newsletter. And the intention is for all of this not only to live on our website, but we will push and pulse out throughout the year some of the key things that came out of this newsletter so folks can get reacquainted with all the wonderful things that are happening within the school district. And then the second thing, which I totally put Dr. Dewan at the last minute, but as you all know, that there is a lot of efforts throughout our school and throughout our district and throughout our community to help with food pantries. As many might know, we're having some concerns about whether or not folks will have access to food, and food insecurity is a really hot topic for me. So what I've asked Dr. Dewan is that even though we do have bins here and at all of our schools, to pulse out more information on how to get non-perishables donated within the school district to help if anyone in our community or beyond have access to those foods for the food banks that we support. So hopefully we can do that for the remainder of this year. And any questions?
Just a comment on the annual report. I did like the inclusion of some videos. That was kind of fun. And it was also nice to see one of our student board reps featured, as well as you know, the son of a current board member. That was nice to see. Thanks.
Yes, I loved the annual report this year. And I think we have copies in the lobby for anyone that didn't receive a copy, right? Yeah, don't we usually have copies out there? We will. Okay, we don't have them yet, but we will. I usually see them out there. All right, great. Well, yes, beautiful. I loved it. Any other comments? All right, well, thank you again. All right, curriculum technology. Dan?
Hi, that's me. Okay, for your review tonight, there are two items under the curriculum technology committee section. The first item is a review action item for the anticipated costs for the MCIU age of beginner services for the 25-26 school year in the amount of $208,309. The MCIU Age of Beginner program costs are for students who are school age, but their parents have decided to retain their child for another year in the early intervention program and not send them to kindergarten in Wissahickon yet. The second item is a review action item approving 380 students who have met the requirements to receive Wissahickon High School diplomas for the 24-25 year. This is an annual item each year in the fall.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Just congratulations to our 24-25 graduates officially.
Anything else? All right, well then, thank you so much. All right, we'll move on to facilities and transportation. Joe?
Thank you. We have one item for review this evening and vote next week. It is just the approval to discard or sell obsolete equipment according to board policy 714. There's an attachment in the agenda which gives more details about the items, some furniture, books, maps, etc., athletic and music equipment, and some technology equipment.
Great, thank you, Joe. Any questions or comments?
Of course I do. So I asked, I make this request every year. In fact, I think we need to change this memo to address that. We will try to sell, donate, and then discard any objects, especially when they're electrical technology items. These should not be hitting landfills. I know our community does 2 electronical recycling events a year that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's many others. I want to make sure that we're being mindful as to how we're discarding items, especially things that are bad for our environment, please.
Perhaps we can get in touch with Senator Blatt's office and find out when the next upcoming event will be before we discard them, see if we could recycle and do her event.
There's actually a process that has to be followed with regards to those, where they're approved and or auctioned off. So we are actually in the process. Next week, we'll list a van that we'll be putting up for auction on municipal bids. With regards to the items that we have here, most of the items, if they are obsoleted, such as technology items, they will go to a vendor that purchases them.
Okay, so we ended up done in a landfill.
I can't say nothing else. That's not realistic. Do our best not to.
By some of the items that we still find in our buildings, like they were still covering VCRs. I feel like we've been seeing that on here for years. Like,
And
where do we
cassette
keep
players,
finding
too.
them? Yeah, cassette players, like, where do we find these? All right, thank you so much for this. Comments, questions? All right, then we'll move on to the next report, finance. Steve?
Yeah, we'll have 3 items for vote next week. The first 2, 17.1 and 17.2 are the normal monthly reports, the finance report and the payments report. 17.3 is to approve the acceptance of a donation from the Wissahickon Music Parent Group to allow for a wraparound on the new trailer for the marching band.
Great. Any comments or questions? Thank you so much. Policy.
Thank you, Amy. I have no informational or action items this evening. Our first policy committee meeting will be coming up on November 10th.
Thank you. Board Educational Equity and Oversight Committee, Paul.
Thanks, Amy. Tonight, I'm going to be sharing 2 informational items. Number 1 will be the report of the October 13th, 2025 Board Educational Equity Oversight Committee meeting. The second will be the information about the upcoming community listening session, which is going to be November 20th. So on the 13th, we had our first committee meeting of the year. I focused on disciplinary responses. During the meeting, the district presented discipline data from the 2024-25 school year and explored the next steps identified in the Equity Indicators Action Plan. Presentation aimed to highlight the district's ongoing efforts to develop and implement proactive, preventative, and responsive practices, procedures, policies, and programs designed to address and reduce racial disparities in disciplinary outcomes. As well attended, we had a very great back and forth with members of the committee, and once again want to encourage others to join remotely to hear our committee meetings as they come up. The second item is the upcoming session of our community listening events. It's an ongoing series that we started last year that we will be continuing. The session will be held Thursday, November 20th at Blue Borough Hall at 7 p.m. So we invite all to come out and join us. We hope to have a robust conversation and input. And it will be the district's version of continuing to address the needs of students through identifying key topics and focus areas that we set as a priority. So we hope that all can attend. Again, that is November 20th at Blue Borough Hall at 7 p.m.
Any comments or questions? Thank you so much. All right, we'll now on to health, wellness, and safety. Jean.
Thank you, Amy. The Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee held a virtual meeting on October 13th. And Mrs. Latour, Director of Equity and Cultural Responsiveness, Dr. Hein McCloskey, Director of Student Services, delivered a presentation on culture, climate, and mental health within the West Hampton School District. Their presentation provided a comprehensive overview of the district's approach to addressing bullying, the implementation of intervention strategies within the multi-tiered systems of support framework, and the array of programs and services available to support student mental health. Additionally, they emphasized the various initiatives designed to empower educators and families in fostering a positive, inclusive, and supportive school environment.
Great, thank you, Jean. Any comments or questions? All right, well, thank you so much. We'll now move on to our report of board representatives. Extracurricular, Marshall.
There was an extra curricular committee meeting last week. We are finalizing the minutes, so I should have a full report next week once it's complete.
Thank you. And MCAU does not hold a meeting in October, so our next one is in November. And our next legislative meeting is also in November. North Marco?
So the meeting last Monday involved a presentation on IT security for the school, but also went over possible financing related to a 7-year plan to both update the facilities and increase size for enrollment on the second floor of the facility. And both of those plans were reviewed. They were not put up for a vote, but they appear to be financially sound. So we were happy to see that.
Great, thank you. Any comments or questions? Thank you again. PSBA?
Hello. So the PSBA sent out an urgent memo to school districts asking that they pass a resolution, that all boards pass a resolution. As some of you know, it's been over 100 days since Pennsylvania was supposed to pass a state budget, and it's leaving $3 billion in education funding withheld from public schools. This is no longer just a cash flow issue. It threatens program staffing and essential services across the Commonwealth. So the resolution that they asked to pass, and I believe we're looking at this for next week, it calls for full funding for public education, release of all federal funds owed to districts, compliance with the Commonwealth's court ruling, repayment of interest and fees incurred due to borrowing during the impasse, and then the cyber charter funding reform. So I do believe this is something that is important, and I think we're looking at it for next week. Just to encourage the state resolutions, it's just saying, hey, we want you to do this. And if all districts do it, I think it sends a message to them.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? And
yeah, so on Tuesday, October 7th, we met, and as a committee, it was decided that we will be recommending to the board that this committee move forward as an ad hoc committee. This will be presented for approval in December as part of the annual approval of board committees. The committees allow the board and the WAA to engage in timely discussions, and we have really appreciated this opportunity because we've had some great insights from the W members. And personally, I've really enjoyed getting to know them. It's been really great. I think the ad hoc committee is going to be better because we'll just be able to call a committee meeting on an as-needed basis. There's times when we need teacher input on certain subjects, and then there's times when we don't, so we don't want to waste anyone's time. But as needed, either side can call a meeting. So I think that'll be the best way to do it.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All right, thank you. Then we will move on to our second public comment period. And the board appreciates hearing from the community. A maximum of 5 speakers will be heard on the same topic. Please limit comments to 3 minutes in the interest of fairness and in order to treat all speakers equally. It's not the board's practice to engage in dialogue with speakers. When appropriate, follow-up responses will be posted on board docs. Members of the public who are attending in person wishing to make a public comment should complete a blue speakers form and submit it. When approaching the podium, please announce your name, your municipality of residence, and your affiliation with the district. And if you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. And when you're called upon, please do the same. State your name, municipality, and affiliation to the district. So we'll call our first person that's in person, and that's Carmina Taylor. You're the first one submitted, so you're the first one that we're calling.
I'm going to cut to the chase because I have lots of questions, and I noticed that you finally responded to my questions on October 6th. So number 1, when did the Q&A board responses get placed in the library tab of the section on your website? Number 2, what was the justification for the business manager and the facility director to go to the superintendent's conference? Don't understand the correlation there. Number 3, how many special ed staff have resigned from the district in the last 2 years? Number 4, when are the Cultural Heritage Month activities going to be partnered with community members and stakeholders? It would be a good thing because then you could break down barriers of non-cultural understanding. Number 5, what was the date that Mr. Bricker found out that the High School Homeschool Association was not a 501c3? I missed the first part, but I wanted to point out that the Wellness Committee and the Board Equity Committee met on the same day with an hour apart. And if the Wellness Committee meets quarterly, that's such an important committee. Why would you have them an hour apart on the same day? And then my question would be, do people outside of the committee on the Equity Committee get to ask questions? From my understanding, when they're on Zoom, they just have to sit there and listen. I don't think that's inclusive. Where are the presentations for both committees? Why wouldn't they be in the agenda so people could see what was discussed before Paul or Eugene spoke? The other thing that I wanted to say is that there was an incident last week at Bluebell. It was a shutdown. Turns out that the child is a foster care parent. The foster care mother reached out to me for help. I know a lot of it is confidential, but one of the things that I think is really important is that we have a lot of kids in this district that have mental health issues and trauma issues. And essentially this boy has had multiple issues in the last 2 weeks, but finally he was sent to a psychiatric hospital. And in both cases where I was involved in terms of having an
Carmina, let's not talk about anything specific to the child's health.
All right, well, the bottom line is that there was a comment that the school is responsive to special ed needs, and there was a case where it really isn't. And when we make statements that we are responsive, but then you have $7 million in lawsuits, I just wonder. And one of the parents said to me, where's the empathy, where's the compassion for kids that are struggling? So I don't know what was discussed at your mental health committee, but I think that we have to dig deeper because there's kids that are really hurting and still hurting, and there's no real support for them. So I hope all my 7 questions get answered. I have them written, so I will follow up with you. Thank you.
All right, is there anyone online?
There are no hands raised online.
Okay, Mark Giordano?
Community Mark Giordano, Lower Glen Township. My affiliation is that I pay taxes. Show of hands, how many Democrats on the board? Show of hands, how many Republicans on the board? Show of hands, how many independents on the board? One. All right, so we don't know the rest of the board's affiliation. That leads me to my point coming up here. If a child in the district tells an employee of the district that they want to change their gender or their name and they don't want their parents to know, will the district tell the guardian or the parent about this situation? Question two, if the child or children are found to be having sex acts anywhere on the district grounds by an adult that is employed by the district, will the district notify the parent or the guardian? Yes or no? If I want to ask questions in a board meeting, I was told by that guy right there, the assistant superintendent, on the telephone, that it's state law that you all can't respond. I've been told different. What I've been told is online, you have to respond. In person, you choose not to respond. You're choosing to hide. You're choosing not to answer questions. Another question is, I heard a lot of equity stuff at the corner down there. If my kid doesn't want to participate in any equity lessons, any of the schools going, I don't want him anywhere near equity coming from any of them. Can he opt out of any kind of equity lessons, anything to do with equity? I don't want anything to do with it. My child. If a child is claiming to be a different gender than the gender they used to be, do they have access to sports teams, locker rooms, and bathrooms? That might be. But I just want someone to answer any of the questions. What do you say? So the people, I know now I put questions. Just so you understand, these are all Democrats. Entire board. They think that gender is fluid. Gender is not fluid. It's just two genders. Two. That's it. Just two. 2 plus 2 is 4. It will always be 4. If you really want it to be 5, if you really think it's 5, it still isn't 5. So my question is, if a kid in a district hands in a test and it's 2 plus 2, he puts 5, tells you he thinks he's right. Is he right? Is he wrong? 2 genders. That's it. Please keep your personal opinions out of my kids' ears. Stick to math, science, reading, that the basics. Enough with this liberal nonsense to pushing on these children. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of paying taxes so you can get funds. Have a nice night.
Stacy.
Hi, everybody. Stacy DeWitt. I am in Bluebell. I have a child over at the high school. First thing I wanted to bring up is to the board regarding the density of the agenda. I posted today, I used a little AI on this, on one of the school board district family pages, a 2-page summary. I think it would be a really great idea for the district to put those out just to help digest some of the more dense information that is being sent out. Number 2, I would also like to thank the board for protecting my kid and my kid's friends and everybody who's a little bit different. Because there's obviously a lot of people who may not agree with their life, but we are a community and we should be looking out for one another. So thank you. And that's it.
Stacy. So.
Dennis, Lower Gwinnett parent. Good evening. Several weeks ago, I stood before this board and raised serious concerns about the images displayed in the social studies classroom. One of those images was of an enslaved Black man receiving lashes. My son, the only Black male student in their class, was expected to sit beneath that image daily while the teacher herself stated slaves received these lashes for not listening. I also raised concerns about the join or die snake poster, a symbol historically tied to violence against Native people, and my son is Native American as well. When I spoke up, I pointed out that while the graphic trauma was plastered on the walls, there was no images of the Holocaust, no depictions of Jewish suffering, and no presentation of other communities' pain, Black bodies only, and trauma were on display. Here is what troubles me deeply. Prior to my comments, the board was presented with concerns about a Jewish-related curriculum issue. That concern was taken seriously, given immediate attention, and even warranted an extra board meeting at the end of the school year. Ultimately, the curriculum was removed because parents did not find it appropriate. In contrast, since I raised concerns about the treatment of Black and Indigenous history and its harmful impact on children, there has been silence, no additional meetings, no acknowledgement, no accountability. Instead, the social studies teacher, who is also the department chair, asked that my son, the only Black male in her class, be removed. Is this retaliation, not resolution? And when I pushed back, stating that her fragility would not supersede my son's comfortability, the district retracted that decision and kept him in the class. That alone proves the issue is bigger than one teacher. It is systemic. The instinct was not to hold her accountable, but to display my son, the child most harmed by this imagery. But by removing him does not remove the problem. As department chair, she still would oversee how the curriculum is taught. The decision to plaster those images on the walls communicates superiority for whiteness and inferiority for melanated people. That is not education, that is indoctrination. I'm here tonight to call firmly and without hesitation for the immediate removal of these images. They are not neutral, they are not harmless. They re-traumatize Black and Indigenous children while reinforcing racial hierarchy. So I asked this board, why is there urgency and decisive action when one community's concerns are raised, but silence when it involves my son? His humanity and his dignity matter. Silence is not neutrality. Silence is complicity. Remove those images now. Thank you.
Thank you, Saida. Is anyone online? Yes, we have Jason and Hugh online. Hey, Jason, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Jason. Oh, Jason, you need to unmute yourself. Jason, come back. Let's get to Patricia.
Hello, my name is Patricia Lorenzo. I'm a resident of Whippane Township for over 30 years. I have 4 children. 3 of them have gone through the Wissahickon School District system. The questions that I'm bringing tonight are, well, let me just preface this a little bit. I worked for 10 years in the school district as a special ed support person. And the community that I most often represented was the nonverbal students in our district. And I was the proverbial fly on the wall because I was within every single grade level and throughout the district, and really got to see firsthand how every classroom, how different teachers interacted with students. And all the students know the best teachers, all the teachers know the best teachers, and all of the parents know the best teachers. My question is, does the school board know who the best teachers are? I'm currently running for township supervisor in Whippane Township. And as such, I'm being exposed to a lot of different information with regard to the Wissahickon School District. I'm seeing a lot of information about how our proficiencies have dropped. What are the proficiencies that we're using, and how are we measuring it? Another concern that's coming up very frequently is, what is the communication protocol between parents, school board, and administration. My final concern has to do with administration overload. So just to recap, the parents run the education system. It's unwieldy to have elected parents, so we have non-elected members. The non-elected members instruct our administration. The administration then in turn gives the marching orders or provides a plan or a strategy for our teachers so that the ultimate outcome is that students are educated. So it's straightforward that you work with me and you then direct our administration. The administration instructs our teachers. The final outcome is students that are well educated, proficiency.
Thank you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so my name is Jason QIU. I reside in Ambler, so I'm a student at the Wissahickon High School, and what I would like to talk about is the budgeting. And would like to appreciate the school board and the district for adding a security guard from the Cardinal Point Security Group. It makes the school feel safer, but I think the budgeting isn't equal when it comes to providing updates for the bathrooms. For example, like vape detectors, because people freely vape in there. And the safety specialists, they don't really care about it. And I've heard them say it. So yeah, that's like one of the things. My second thing is the art department is being defunded constantly. I see the budget slowly decreasing each year where there's not enough supplies that last the entire year. And if we're gonna keep on diverting money to turf fields in the back of WHS, then I think we can also raise the taxes on the wealthy families of Wissahickon. Now, that is my only thing, and I yield back.
Thank you. So, there are no additional hands raised on mine. Okay. All right, so now we'll focus on public comment hearing. Let's roll call in. And then CC here. Under motion to adjourn.
So moved. Aye.
Adjourn, thank you.